Alright, so we can do a few more things. Well, you can do a lot more things, but I'll show you a few more things. Another tool is Recon-NG. So this is kind of a Metasploit-esque framework for reconnaissance. So the syntax is going to be very similar. So we can do a show and modules. See all of our available modules. You can, of course, try any of these. So we'll just look at one. So again, it's very similar to Metasploit. So we can say use and then the module we want. So I'll do recon contact -creds and have I been pwned. So this will basically search through known email dumps and see if our email address is in them. So chances are your email has been in some dump at some point if you use the internet, since so many things get dumped. So it's worth knowing so you can change your password. And it's contacts with an S grid. Have I been pwned? And if I set source to Georgia@bulbsecurity.com, mine actually was dumped once. So if I say run, it's found in the Adobe data dump. So my email address and associated password hash was dumped at one point in an attack, but I've naturally since changed my password. Good for me. And you should do the same if you are in any of these dumps. So again, there's lots of different modules you can use, so you can find a fair amount of information in this framework. Let's look at one more thing before we move on to actually attacking our virtual machines. So if we look for Google Dorks, there's a few different places that host these. The best one, the most up-to-date, I think, is this Google hacking database at ExploitDB. There's a original Google hacking database from Johnny Long, the developer who first came up with this, but now it's maintained better at ExploitDB. Google hacking database. So what this does is uses various Google operators like site : or and like having the text include a particular string, like file extension names, things like that. So the different, like you can see some of them here, like in URL, like in text, in title. The different operators that you can use in Google searches to find particular information. So you can do specific searches, or what I like about this is it has like categories here, like who doesn't like passwords. So let's see, files containing passwords. I always think is a good example. ATM passwords. So here's the actual search, so we can have that search run. And it'll look for, these look like just user manuals though. So default passwords and ATMs. We don't actually have an ATM lying around. But here's like XAMPP dir password. So XAMPP is a basically website and then some. So it's like Apache, PHP, MySQL. I think FileZilla FTP is in there. So it's avoiding the trouble. If I could actually install software, it comes as a package. So a lot of people run them. So this is interesting. Here's their username and password for XAMPP. It's for these websites. It's hosted online. Oops. That's unfortunate. So just by using this particular operator, so we look for XAMPP dir password.txt and for file type : text. So you can do an awful lot with Google operators. So this is a good place to look for them, but really you can just go to google.com and play with different operators. Like, I mean, basic ones, like we do. If I say I want, say, password, and then I want the site to be bulbsecurity.com. Like, with a simple one like this, chances are it won't come up with anything particularly useful. I mean, it's got my user guide for SPF, and then, like, my penetration testing class, we do password attacks, and this is some code from a blog post. So it may not actually give you passwords, but as we saw, sometimes it might. So you can use any Google operators you want, but this database has some ones that have been known to come up with something interesting, so that's a good place to start. Let's go to exploit-db.com and Google-dorks.